Welcome to the Microlite BackupEDGE video training series. The training series is designed to help you understand and get the most out of BackupEDGE. This lesson is on learning to manipulate tape libraries, autoloaders, and changers in both EDGEMENU and the BackupEDGE scheduler. The technical term for this class of storage devices is medium changer. During this lesson, we'll use the term changers to refer to all devices in this category unless referring to really large libraries. In this lesson, we are going to review the changer and tape drive settings in EDGEMENU, learn to move tapes around in the changer using EDGEMENU, learn to set up the default backup schedule to change tapes automatically, and learn some advanced scheduling settings and techniques. Please note that this is part 2 of a 3-part lesson. The other 2 parts are separate videos covering learning to detect and configure changers in EDGEMENU and manipulating changers from the operating system command line or with user scripts and programs. While part 3 is optional and will be used by few, Microlite recommends taking the time to view part 1 and 2 of this lesson before attempting to configure and use a changer. Let's quickly review the 4 basic terms used to describe the parts of a changer, which are called elements. All element addresses start at 0 and increment by 1. The DT, or data transport elements, are the tape drives. There may be more than one in a changer. The first tape drive is referred to as DT0, the second as DT1, etc. ST elements are the slots that store the tapes. The first slot is ST0, the second is ST1, and so forth. In most normal instances, it is possible to move a tape directly back and forth between slots and tape drives, in other words, ST and DT elements. These are the only element types that may affect you. Some devices also have an IE element. The import-export element is used on larger libraries to insert or remove tapes without opening the door or doors. Medium transport elements, or MT elements, are the robotic arms or other mechanisms used to move tapes between the other elements on very large libraries. Although detected and supported by BackupEDGE, it is almost never necessary to directly address this element type except on the largest of libraries. Please note that BackupEDGE has no practical limits on the number of elements of any type that may exist in a changer. Tapes may actually be addressed in one of 2 ways. The first is by the location of the individual element where the tape is located, such as the first tape drive, DT0, the 4th slot, ST3, and so forth. If the changer and tapes are so equipped, you may also find a tape by its barcode label. For example, tape 000601L3 would be identified as BC 000601LC. If addressed by barcode label, BackupEDGE will find the tape wherever it is located in the changer. Let's do a live session with EDGEMENU. The server we'll be using has an HP Ultrium 4 standalone tape drive and a Quantum Ultrium 4 drive located within a Dell model PV124T 16 tape changer. This is the main menu screen for BackupEDGE EDGEMENU. First, let's set the primary resource, or storage device being used by EDGEMENU, to tape 0, the HP Ultrium 4 standalone device. We'll go to Admin, Set Default Backup Resources, and choose Tape 0, the HP Ultrium 4, and hit Enter. Now note at the bottom of the screen that the primary resource is set to the HP Ultrium 4. If we were to use Admin Changer Control at this moment, it would fail. EDGEMENU would tell us that we can't do that since there is no associated changer. Now, let's associate the changer with the Quantum tape drive, then select it as the primary resource. In EDGEMENU, we'll select Admin, Define Resources, and select Tape 1, the Quantum Ultrium 4. Use the arrow keys to choose the Changer Association field, which currently says Standalone Device, and hit Enter. Now, at the Changer DT entry form, when you press Enter, it will automatically be selected as Tape 1. Press Next to continue. And note that Changer Association is now set so that the Quantum Ultrium 4 is DT0 in Changer 0. Hit Next, hit Done, and then select Admin, Set Default Backup Resource to Tape 1. Since EDGEMENU knows the drives are associated with the changer in this instance, it'll ask you if you wish to use the auto changer to manipulate tapes. Select Yes. At this point, we can go back to Admin, Changer Control, and we'll bring up the Auto Changer Control screen. This has 3 sections. The first section is Elements Detected. Please note that the Dell PV124T does not have an IE element. It has one tape drive or DT element. It technically has an MT or robotic arm element, at least defined in software. We don't need to use that. And it has 16 slots or storage elements for tapes. Right now, as we scan the left side bottom of the screen, we will see all of the full elements, most of which have a barcode label on them. In other words, these are tapes in these slots with barcodes. We can choose any one of those tapes by barcode and slot name and press Enter, and the right side of the display will show any place that we can put it. In this case, the only empty element that matters to us is the tape drive DT0, so we'll hit Enter to select DT0. Note that it now says we're going to move media from ST2 to DT0, and then we'll hit Enter for Move. This will take a few moments. Now that the move is complete, you'll note that under Full Elements, we have DT0, the tape drive, listed as having medium inserted from ST2. So it not only knows it has a tape, it knows where the tape came from so that it can put it back. And again, to put it back, we would select the full element, select the empty element, ST2, verify on the right side that we're moving media from DT0 to ST2, hit Enter for Move, and wait for the operation to complete. The operation is now complete. The tape has been moved back into ST0, and the full elements list is returned as before. That's all you need to do to move tapes around, either for eject purposes or to read and write with them using EDGEMENU. There are a few other options at the bottom of the screen. The Eject option is used on cartridge-based changers. Pressing this will eject the cartridge or cartridges and allow you to insert and delete tapes. Remember, if you do this, you'll have to physically go to the changer location and press the cartridges back into the device. Change device is for use in instances where BackupEDGE knows about more than one tape changer, and it just allows you to select any available changers. In this instance, we only have one. Rescan device can be used in instances where the changer has lost its idea of where tapes or barcodes are. This will force a rescan and have the changer look at every element in the device and find out where the tapes are. And then, of course, when you're complete with all operations, press Done to return to EDGEMENU. That's all there is to manipulating tapes in a changer with EDGEMENU. Now we'll move on to using the scheduler. When using a changer, the BackupEDGE scheduler performs a 7-part process for each scheduled backup. First, it removes any tapes from the designated tape drive. Then it moves the correct tape for the scheduled backup into the drive and positions it to beginning of tape or the proper file mark based on the resource setting and the retention time of any current backups on the tape. Then the backup is performed. After this, the tape is rewound, ejected, and returned to its original location. The tape is then moved back into the tape drive and positioned appropriately. Then the verify is performed. And finally, the tape is rewound, ejected, and returned to its original location. You may identify tapes to be used during scheduled backups by slot name and barcode combinations, or all by barcode at your option. During initial setup of BackupEDGE, when a tape resource with a changer are detected and selected, a wizard screen appears to make it easy to schedule nightly backups to different tapes. Here is a completed example using slot names to address the individual tapes. Here is another completed example using barcodes for tape selection. Note that once this screen is saved, you'll have to go into individual scheduler entries to make changes to the slots or barcode labels. Changing the tapes used at individual times by the BackupEDGE scheduler is easy. From within EDGEMENU, go to Schedule, Basic Schedule, and choose the individual entry, what we call a triplet, that you wish to change, and press, as it shows on the bottom, Ctrl-D to edit it. You'll note that you now see the current value of the entry and also the backup type on that night, in this case master, and the media list, either the slot name or barcode. Just change that to whatever you would like it to be and hit next. If we go back into that, Ctrl-D, it now has the slot name instead of the barcode. Do that for each night that you wish to change. When finished, save and go back to EDGEMENU. Please note that the default 7-night basic schedule in EDGEMENU is just that, a default. The EDGEMENU scheduler is much more powerful, but to access the more powerful features, first you must go to Setup, Enable Advanced, and activate the Advanced Scheduler. After doing that, far more powerful features are enabled. Here is an example of a schedule that really takes advantage of the fact that there are 16 tapes in our changer. On the last day, and only the last day of the year, the master backup will go to tape BC000615L3. On each of the 5 possible Sundays in a month that are not the last day of the year, the backup will go to a separate tape. On each of the 5 normal days of the week that are not the last day of the year, the backup will go to a separate tape. When a schedule is created, preference is from top to bottom. As soon as a match is encountered, that entry is used and the rest of the entries are ignored. Here is a slight modification to that schedule. In this case, the top line has been modified to cause this schedule never to do a backup on the last day of the year, no matter what day of the week it is. On December 31st, this schedule will run, see the first line, and stop. For our purposes here, we'd assume that you were doing this because you had created a separate schedule in the BackupEDGE scheduler to handle backups on the last day of the year. So here is a live example of the schedule we showed a moment ago. If you choose an individual day, you'll note the more and the arrows indicating there are more entries in this scheduling system. So as we scroll down, we can see the additional entries, and as we scroll up, we can go back to the top. If we hit Ctrl-D on one of those entries, you'll note what it says. On the first day of the month, perform a master backup to the tapes in the media list, and in our case only one barcoded label is in the media list. And we'll note that since we're in our advanced scheduler, there is a new field, a minimum retention time. The full schedule has a default retention time, normally 7 days, but in the advanced scheduler, any line item in a backup can have its retention time set to a different time. We could choose the default. We could choose a number of days, weeks, years, or we could even choose indefinitely. So if we had a tape that was labeled to be done on the last day of the year, we might choose its retention time to be indefinite, which means that BackupEDGE would never erase the tape automatically. It would only be able to be erased by the user. When we're finished, next, and we're done. That's it. This lesson part is complete. You now know how to manipulate tapes within EDGEMENU and the scheduler with a changer. Remember, part 1 of this 3-part lesson series shows you how to configure changers in the operating system and in BackupEDGE. And part 3 of this lesson series addresses manipulating the changer and tapes either from the operating system command line or within your own programs using the EDGE.Changer program and its rich programming interface. Thanks for watching part 2 of this lesson. Enjoy using our products. Please check www.microlite.com for additional information and more videos.